Hi. So right now I am recording this in the parking lot of a thrift store in Texas, because I live in Texas. I don't really know what to say or why exactly I've decided to record this. I've had some ideas the past few days. I wanted to make a video about like craziest shit my stepmother's ever said to me, which I think will be fun, and I still want to talk about it, and kind of funnier things. But sometimes you can look back on trauma and laugh as a coping mechanism, and sometimes you can't. So I kind of just wanted to show you guys a little bit what PTSD looks like for me, because I didn't realize that's what it was for a really long time, and I'm still learning things every day about it. Obviously I look like shit today. I need to take a shower, and I have adult acne. That's great. But so last night, my husband and I got in an argument. Really not a big one. We don't get in big fights, because we talk about things. We have a really good relationship, actually, the most stable one in my family. Although the bar's kind of low there. So it was just over something dumb. We were watching a movie, paused it, and then I started doing something. He went to the bathroom, and I took too long to finish up, and he just was annoyed with me. And I got really upset with him, and I told him to leave me alone. But just the fact that we'd argued at all, where I felt like he was disappointed in me. And I didn't realize it at the time. I really didn't know what was going on in my head. But he gave me space, which is exactly what I asked him to do. He gave me space, and he respected the boundaries that I put up. And I sat in the room I was in doing furniture stuff. I'm making like a spare office. And I just progressively became more and more panicked. When he came out of the room and he didn't say anything to me, and he just walked past me, I got scared. I don't know why. It kind of tracks with last week. We'd gotten in a minor argument. Again, this is not a common occurrence. I don't mean to make it sound like we're fighting all the time. It was over something dumb, just like, quick snap at each other and then apologize like 30 seconds later. Hey, sorry, I'm in a bad mood, didn't get enough sleep, blah, 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 little stuff. And he went to grab a spoon from the drawer, and I thought he had a knife, and I got really scared. Then that happened last week, so I know that I've been in the midst of a PTSD episode for a little bit now. Because talking about it makes it worse, but not talking about it makes it worse, makes it even worse than that. So you kind of have to work through it and see what happens, I've learned. So I don't know what happened. I just started feeling like I had to escape, and I started to dissociate. It didn't really feel like I was in my body. Just kind of stood there and stared off into space, stood in the doorway, just like planning my escape for like 10 minutes, just not moving, just thinking about it. And then the moment I heard him go into the bathroom to get ready for bed, I grabbed all of my things and I left. I grabbed my purse, I grabbed my medication, I grabbed clothes, and I left. And I drove to my mom's house, an hour and a half away, and I spent the night there. And that was not a reasonable response. I figured that out now. It was just a dumb argument. Really, getting irritated with me for taking too long at something. Yeah, was that vaguely shitty? Sure. But me leaving when he was in the bathroom was not good. And I reacted pretty mean too. I got really defensive. And it's hard because, I can look back on the times that my parents have been mean to me, and recognize the same behavior in myself sometimes. But a whole ride to my mom's house, I remember not really feeling much, thinking about TV shows, just continuing to dissociate, really. And something that I'm learning is that not everybody wants to hurt me, which is weird to say out loud because that seems like something you should expect to know. But I've always assumed people hated me unless specified otherwise, or, especially with men. I've had to actively remind myself sometimes that, like, normal men that are healthy and, not narcissistic, you don't have to, like, convince them not to be rapists or convince them to care about their children. And I know that sounds really crazy. I'm not saying all men are like that. I'm saying that because of some bad experiences I've had from a young age, it's like ingrained in my mind, and I have to remind myself sometimes that that's not a belief based in reality. So yeah, I just left. I just left him there without any warning. I didn't say anything. I just left him there. And when he was worried about me, I didn't believe him. So he just texted me, "I'm glad we communicated and I love you." So we talked about it since then, but it made me realize that I have a habit of this. If something frightens me, or I get in an argument, or something isn't, like, I feel like threatened in any way, I go through a very intense fight or flight reaction, which I now know is a PTSD thing, and my reaction is always to flight. It's always to run away. I had a similar experience about a month ago when I went to Pennsylvania to visit my best friend when she had surgery. And I wanted to stop for a car charger, or a charger, I forgot, and her fiance was tired and just wanted to get home. And the thought of being in a car with no escape, my mind immediately started planning escape routes. I started immediately thinking about, okay, when he stops the car, I can fling myself out of the car and run. And that's not a reasonable thing to think. It's not. And it got so bad that, without saying anything, I did the same thing to her. When she was getting surgery, I called my sister and I told her I was scared, and I told her she had to come get me. And I left there before she got home from the hospital. I know logically, looking back, her fiance's a good person. She's a good person. Nobody was gonna hurt me. I was just afraid that I was gonna have a total meltdown, and she was already having surgery, and I didn't want to make it worse. And I did have a pretty bad panic attack. So, and I think a lot of it stems from really two things I can think of. My relationship with my dad is not good. It's never been good. And there's a lot of times where he stood over me screaming when I was a kid and I could not escape. I'd have to try to call my mom and leave. Mom always couldn't drop everything and come pick me up from my dad's house. That's just not how it worked. And then back when I was 19 or 18 or something, I went to Italy. And that was really the first time I started sharing a lot of stuff on Facebook. And that's because it was so bad. They had me in the trunk of the car. Not like that makes it sound worse than it was, even though it was pretty bad. They rented this van. It was me, my dad, my stepmother, my sister and my 2 stepbrothers, and they chose a car that didn't have enough room for everybody. So, you know, what they did was they said, well, then we're just gonna have to take turns with someone riding in the hatchback of the van. But that just ended up being me the whole time. And there was an instance where I wanted to get money out of the ATM. We were stopping at an ATM, but my stepmother, for whatever reason, had decided that it wouldn't be fair to her sons if I had more money than they did, which I don't know. It was off of my own bank account, and her sons are like 5 years older than me. It was really weird. But they wouldn't let me out of the trunk. And I couldn't get out by myself. There was no way for me to get out. And I was in Italy. I mean, I don't speak Italian. I don't speak the language, and there was nobody. I was stuck. I couldn't get out. And they ended up letting me out at a rest stop, and my stepmother tried to get near me, and I said something like, "Don't come near me, you crazy bitch," and started sobbing because I was having a panic attack. And I ran over into an area with gravel, and my dad came over and screamed at me. My sister tried to comfort me, so she was also crying at that point. I was full-blown hysterical, and I was throwing little pieces of rocks that I could find to try to get him to go away. And he wouldn't stop. And an Italian couple came up and asked in broken English if they should call the police. And no, I told them not to. I mean, and after that, things were really bad. I tried to stay at the hotel, and then my stepmother stood up and called me a bitch in public, screamed bitch at me, and it was really upsetting. And then I cried, and she just said I was throwing a temper tantrum. The whole thing was very bad, and I tried to leave Italy so that I could be away from them. And you know, my stepmother told my dad that if he let me leave, that she would divorce him. And I thought, the only thing at that time, I thought that things were so bad, I thought that if I told them that I was suicidal, that they would let me go home, and they didn't. I told my dad, "Let me leave, please let me leave, or I'm gonna jump out of the hotel window," or something like that. And he just screamed at me about, "My wife is over there, that's my wife, don't make me choose." Which I just wanted to leave, and I wasn't allowed to. And it didn't matter to them how bad things were, and things were really bad. So I get really nervous when I can't escape, or when I feel like there's going to be conflict. Another recent example of that was I was in a situation with a family member. Things were misrepresented to me, basically. I ended up alone in a car with this person for a long time driving, and they weren't in a very good place mentally. They told me I wasn't allowed to speak to them. I was having stomach problems. I had to pull over and vomit on the side of the road. I started falling asleep behind the wheel of the car because if I don't talk, I fall asleep. And they still just had me basically chauffeur them across state lines. And they told a family friend they were going to kill themselves while we were at the hotel room at night, and then they didn't answer my phone calls, and I finally got through to them, and they were just sleeping. They just threatened it with no intention of it, but that's a whole separate thing. Basically, I tried to tell them that they had to talk to me because they were going to come to stay at my house. And then I said, you know, maybe you should consider going back into treatment because you seem to be doing really poorly. And things really got bad. And they wouldn't listen to me. They started like rolling down the window so they couldn't hear me when I spoke, and they yelled at me. They called their mom and said that I was saying horrible things to them because I told them they should consider treatment. They said I was a horrible person. They told their parent that they were still going to come to my house and stay at my house, but I wasn't allowed to speak to them, which I didn't understand. But I got really scared because they were acting irrationally and scary. And I called 911 and then hung up. I didn't know what to do. 911 called me back. I pretended to be on the phone with my mother until they tracked my location. And then I said, oh shit, Mom, I gotta go. I'm getting pulled over by the police. And they were on the phone with me. And I ran out of the car and collapsed on the ground. That was in April 2021. So, and then I've definitely noticed an uptick in PTSD behavior since then. I know a lot of it is because I've confronted the fact that I was sexually assaulted, but I think that incident really messed me up. It really triggered a lot about my dad that I'd repressed, and I don't know. So it's a lot, and it's really, really difficult in the moment whenever things are happening to realize that you're, in a dissociative state and that you're having a post-traumatic stress episode and that there's no reason for you to run, because all you can think is things are bad and I need to leave. And I've basically discovered that I can't go anywhere without my own car, because if I don't have a car and I feel like I can't leave, I have panic attacks. And talking about it, like I said, causes an uptick in PTSD sort of feelings. Like I said, I thought my husband had a knife. He would never hurt me. He's a good person, and it's really important that people know that he's really wonderful. And he's loved me no matter what size I was, and he's always supported me. I mean, even at my 350 pounds, and it just always has loved and supported me. So he was not at fault here. So yeah, he's a good person. He would never hurt me. But I just get scared. And I was falling asleep and I'll wake up because I think there's someone by the side of the bed and there's nothing there. Just stuff like that. But when everything happened in Pennsylvania and I left, I was so convinced people were trying to hurt me, but they weren't. And I'm very, very lucky. I have such a kind and understanding best friend. Because I'll never forgive myself for going up there to help her and then just making it about myself. She understands, she told me, and she knows that I had an episode or whatever the hell this is. It's terrible. But yeah, and I'm lucky enough that I have a husband who loves me and understands me and wants to work with me and wants to be with me, and called to talk to me about it all and tell me that, that the way I reacted with so much anger because of his one snide comment, just one comment just set me off, and that me leaving without telling him where I was going and everything, it wasn't good for him. And so there's this thing with mental health, a lot of people try to use it as an excuse where they say, I can't help it, you can't blame me, I have depression, I have so and so. But here's the thing, mental health is not your fault, but it is your responsibility, and that's the truth. When you hurt other people, you need to take responsibility for it, even if there's a reason, behind what you did. It's not okay. It's not. And so it's really important that people know that. That people know that if you're lashing out and you're hurting others who have done nothing to hurt you and love you, it doesn't matter how messed up you are. You have to confront it. And that's what PTSD can look like. It can look like this. It can look like me crying in the parking lot of a thrift store and some really sweet Mexican ladies coming up to pray over me. That was very nice of them. actually not the first time that I've been prayed over by a Texan because I was crying somewhere. And you know, that's not really something, I mean, it's, they really mean well when they do it. And that's what matters, that people do care. And even when they don't know what you're going through and things are hard, they're trying to help. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do with this. Probably just upload it as it is. I don't think I'm gonna edit it or anything. It's 20 minutes long. Hopefully I'll be able to post something funnier, but you know, that's not really why I made this channel. I wanna be very upfront about what PTSD is, because I think a lot of my mental health problems stem from it, and for years I didn't know. I didn't know that this is what it could look like. It could look like dissociating and running away and not feeling anything at all, hurting the people that you love, not physically or anything, but you know, and that's what it can look like. So I hope this helps somebody realize that they're not alone, or that maybe what they're going through is PTSD and not, you know, I don't know what I thought was wrong. I just thought I was just off. I didn't know what it was. So yeah, thank you for watching. Yeah.